Paying attention to your wedding ring could literally be the difference between catching a serious heart or kidney problem 10 years before it shows up on a routine test and finding out about it the hard way after a hospital admission in your 60s. Look, I know that sounds completely dramatic to some people, but there really is a version of getting older that a lot of people just assume is inevitable. You start swelling up by the end of the day. You take your wedding ring off because you can't get it back on. You notice your shoes feel tight in the evening. Your face looks a little puffier in the mirror in the morning. You wake up to use the bathroom 3 or 4 times a night. People call this getting older. And yes, when you get older, certain things happen. But in my opinion, almost all of this gets blamed on age when something else is actually driving it. And the reason I care about this so much is that I see it constantly in the patients I work with. Women in their 60s and 70s arriving with fluid retention nobody ever investigated, on medications that aren't fully addressing the cause, with hearts and kidneys that have been quietly stressed for years. But I also see the opposite. Women in their 60s whose rings still fit the way they did at 50. Women whose ankles look the same in the morning as they did the night before. Women who feel sharp and rested every single day. The difference between those two groups is almost never genetics. It is what they noticed and what they did about it. So what we are going to talk about today is exactly what your wedding ring has been telling you that no one has explained, and the 5 specific things you can do, starting tonight, to actually fix what is happening underneath. And then at the end, I will give you a very simple framework for putting it all together, because that is the part most people never quite figure out. From around the age of 40, the systems in your body that manage fluid balance start to slow down. Your kidneys filter slightly less efficiently. Your veins become looser. Your lymphatic system, which clears extra fluid from your tissues, gets a little slower at its job. That sounds like nothing. A small slowdown across 3 systems doesn't sound like much, but run those numbers forward 20 years, and the body holding on to an extra pound or 2 of fluid every day is exactly what produces the swelling, the high blood pressure, the joint stiffness, the broken sleep, and the fatigue that millions of women just accept as aging. The clinical term for this is fluid retention secondary to age-related cardiovascular and renal changes, and it affects an estimated 30% of adults over 60. The real-world consequences are not abstract. They are the rings that don't fit. They are the ankles that puff up by evening. They are the blood pressure that creeps up year after year. They are the late-stage heart and kidney problems that arrive in the 60s. In a study following over 5,000 adults, those with consistent, unaddressed fluid retention had double the rate of cardiovascular events compared to those whose fluid balance was identified and managed early. And another major analysis in geriatric research found that early identification of subclinical fluid retention in midlife was strongly associated with better outcomes in later life. So this isn't fixed. It is not inevitable. And the time to start paying attention to it is well before things get serious. Now think about how most people treat their car. They check the oil every few months. They take it in for service. They pay attention to the warning lights when they come on. You wouldn't drive your car for 10 years without ever looking at the dashboard and then act surprised when the engine fails. That just doesn't happen. But that's essentially what most of us are doing with our bodies. Your wedding ring is one of those warning lights. It has been on your hand for 10, 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. It knows how it is supposed to feel. When that changes, your body is telling you something. Most people just have not been told what. So what we are going to do today is read those warning lights properly, and then I am going to give you the 5 specific things to do about each one. Number 1 on the list, and the one that catches the most people off guard, is the daily check. This is the simplest fluid balance reading you can do, and almost nobody does it. The signal is right there on your finger every morning, and most people walk past it without noticing. Here is a really quick test for you. Tomorrow morning, when you put your wedding band on, just pay attention. Does it slide on smoothly, Or do you have to twist it past the second knuckle? Then check it again at 6 in the evening. Same hand, same band. Does it feel the same? Or is there pressure on the side of your finger that wasn't there this morning? If the morning to evening difference is meaningful, that is your signal. Your body is shifting fluid during the day in a way that should not be happening that intensely. Now here is the exercise. About 90 minutes before you go to bed, lie down on your back. Place your legs up against a wall, or up on the back of the couch, or on a stack of pillows. Your feet should be roughly 12 to 18 inches above your heart, just elevated, gently, so gravity is on your side. Stay there for 15 minutes. Breathe normally. Close your eyes if you want. What is happening during those 15 minutes is the fluid that pooled in your legs all day is now flowing back into circulation while you are still awake. Your kidneys are filtering it. Your bladder is filling. So you go to the bathroom one final time before bed, and your body has already done most of the work it would have been doing while you tried to sleep. What is brilliant about this exercise is just how many things it does at once. It addresses the daily fluid pooling. It reduces the load on your heart at night. It improves your sleep quality. And it requires zero equipment. You do not need anything special. Just a wall or a couch. If you are starting from zero on this, the first time you do it, you might feel a bit weird, slightly dizzy when you stand back up. That is normal. Sit on the edge of the bed for a moment before fully standing. Older bodies sometimes feel that small shift when going from elevated legs to upright too quickly. In terms of what to expect beyond that, the first week, the changes are mostly in your circulation adjusting to the new evening pattern. Your fingers tend to feel different in the morning within the first 3 to 5 days. Many women notice their morning weight is down 1 to 2 pounds within a week. That is fluid release, not fat loss, and it is exactly what should be happening. If you keep this up consistently, the effects compound significantly. The timeline is a bit slower as you get older, but the direction is always positive if you keep doing it. Number 2 on the list is one most adults have never thought about training: their calf muscles. And yet, this is one of the most important fluid pumps in your entire body. Your calves act like a second heart for your lower body. Every time they contract, they push blood and lymph back up against gravity. When you sit for hours, those pumps go quiet. The fluid in your legs has nowhere to go. It just settles. Walking pace and lower leg strength are two of the strongest independent predictors of cardiovascular health and survival in older adults, which sounds a bit abstract until you actually think about it. That cautious, slow walk you sometimes see in older people isn't just about age. A big part of it is fluid pooling in the lower legs that nobody addressed. Here's another quick test for you. Stand near the kitchen counter or a desk for balance. Try 30 controlled calf raises. Just rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as you comfortably can. Lower back down slowly. If that feels difficult, or if your balance feels shaky, this muscle group needs your attention. You can start with both legs while holding the counter, and 10 reps if 30 is too many. Just start small and consistent. That is the approach. What this exercise actually does is fire up the calf pump first thing in the morning, before gravity has a chance to start its daily fluid pull. Add another 30 reps in the afternoon if you can, standing in the kitchen waiting for coffee, standing at the sink doing dishes, just rising up on your toes for a minute while you wait. It's worth knowing the calf is also directly responsible for pumping blood back up from your legs to the heart. So there is a cardiovascular argument for this as well, not just a swelling argument. And here's the thing. After a few weeks of doing this consistently, the swelling you feel in your fingers in the evenings often starts to drop. Not because you did anything to your hands, because you are pumping fluid out of your legs before it has a chance to settle. Number 3 is the one that surprises everyone, but it is genuinely the most directly fixable: hidden sodium. Most adults consume between 3,000 and 4,000 milligrams of sodium per day. The recommended ceiling is around 2,300. People dealing with significant fluid retention often need to be closer to 1,500 to actually see real changes. Now, the salt you add at the table is rarely the issue. The issue is what is hidden in foods that don't even taste salty: bread, cereal, lunch meats, cheese, soup, crackers, pasta sauce, salad dressing, frozen meals, restaurant takeout. About a year ago, I noticed my own ring was starting to feel slightly tight in the evenings. Not dramatic, just enough that I could tell something had shifted. So I did the same thing I am about to ask you to do. I read the labels on everything I ate for 1 week. The numbers genuinely surprised me. One slice of the bread I had been eating for years contained 230 milligrams of sodium. Two slices in a sandwich plus the deli ham was already almost half of my daily limit before I added cheese, dressing, or anything else. Within 2 weeks of small swaps, the evening tightness was gone. So when I tell you about the link between sodium and fluid balance, I am also telling you it matches what I felt firsthand. For the next 7 days, do this. Read the sodium content on the back of every packaged food you eat. Just look. No restrictions yet. Just notice. Then make a few specific swaps that produce the biggest impact. A 3-ounce serving of regular ham can contain 800 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium. The same amount of fresh roasted chicken or turkey contains under 100. Make that single swap 4 days a week, and you save over 3,000 milligrams of weekly sodium. Canned soup can contain 700 to 900 milligrams per cup. Make a simple homemade vegetable soup once a week and freeze portions, and you control the sodium completely. And the biggest single change for most people: cooking at home 1 extra night per week. Restaurant meals contain 2 to 3 times more sodium than the same meal made at home. These changes are not about being perfect. They are about reducing the heaviest loads. Within 10 days or so, your body usually releases fluid it has been holding. Your fingers will feel it. Number 4 is the one that gives you something most adults never develop. Most women dealing with unpredictable finger swelling have been trying to figure out the cause for years. They have asked their doctor. They have looked online. They have wondered if it is something serious. The answer is usually not in any of those places. It is in 7 days of paying attention to their own life. For 7 days, every morning, do this in 60 seconds. Look at your fingers. Notice if the swelling is more, less, or the same as the day before. Write it down on one line in a notebook by your coffee cup. Then write down what you ate the day before, what medications you took, whether you traveled, whether the weather was hot, whether you drank alcohol. After 7 days, look at the log. You will see your triggers. Some women discover their fingers are always tighter the morning after restaurant meals. Some discover it happens after taking ibuprofen for a headache. Some see it after long flights. Some see it after wine. A few specific triggers worth knowing about ahead of time, because they catch most people by surprise. Heat is one of the most under-recognized triggers. On hot summer days, your body holds extra fluid as part of its temperature regulation. This is normal, but it adds up. Travel by airplane is another big one. The combination of low cabin pressure, prolonged sitting, and changes in salt intake produces visible fluid retention that lasts 24 to 48 hours after landing. Ibuprofen and naproxen are well-documented fluid retention triggers. Some calcium channel blockers prescribed for blood pressure, steroids, certain antidepressants. And here's the thing. Once you have identified your specific triggers, you have something most adults never develop: a personalized map of how your body responds to your specific life. The unpredictability that has been bothering you becomes predictable. That changes everything about how you feel about your own body. Number 5 on the list is small, but it works directly on the part of your body that has been bothering you most: the hand sequence. This one takes 60 seconds. You can do it sitting down. You can do it watching television. You can do it sitting at your kitchen table. Hold your hand straight up above your head, fingers pointed at the ceiling. Make a firm fist. Hold for 3 seconds. Release. Spread your fingers wide. Hold for 3 seconds. Repeat 10 times. Then bring your hand down. Massage gently from your fingertip toward the base of each finger, then from each finger down into your palm, then from your palm down toward your wrist. About 20 seconds on each hand. What you're doing is using gravity plus muscle pumping to drive fluid out of your fingers and back into circulation. This works particularly well in the late afternoon, when fluid has been quietly settling in your hands during the day. Do this 2 to 3 times daily, once after lunch, once mid-afternoon, once in the early evening. It seems small. It is small. But this is the kind of small action that, done consistently, produces real change. Many women who pair this with the leg elevation and the morning calf raises notice their fingers feel different within the first week or two. And here's the thing, nobody is going to tell you at your annual checkup. Sometimes finger swelling is not just about fluid balance. Sometimes it points to something that needs attention more urgently. If your fingers suddenly stop fitting in any of your jewelry and the swelling is dramatic and persistent, if you have other swelling alongside it, in your ankles, your face, around your eyes, if you have shortness of breath, especially when lying down or with exercise, if your blood pressure has been climbing, if you have unexplained weight gain of more than 3 pounds in a few days, these can be signs that your heart, your kidneys, or your liver may need a closer look. Not a reason to panic, a reason to call. Most adults dealing with mild gradual finger tightness do not have any of these warning signs. The 5 things we just walked through are exactly right for that situation. But if you do have any of those warning signs, please make the call this week. The earlier these things are addressed, the more options you have. When you do see your doctor, here are 3 simple things to ask for: creatinine and eGFR. Both are blood tests that show how well your kidneys are filtering. They are part of a standard metabolic panel and may already be in your records. Ask to see the trend over the past few years. A standing blood pressure check. Have your blood pressure measured both seated and right after standing up. A meaningful drop suggests issues with blood pressure regulation that connect directly to fluid balance. A simple ankle check. Ask your doctor to press a thumb into your shin bone just above your ankle and hold for 10 seconds. If the indentation stays after the thumb is removed, that confirms fluid retention beyond what shows on your hands. These 3 checks take less than 5 minutes total. The results either reassure you or catch something early enough that simple lifestyle changes can address it. In an ideal world, our doctors would just do these every year for prevention. But that is another story. As we get to the end of this video, let me just give you a framework for actually putting all of this into practice. The first thing I want to say is that if you are already living a very active life, like genuinely active, where you are gardening regularly, walking the neighborhood, cooking most of your meals at home, sleeping reasonably well, you are probably already doing more for your fluid balance than you realize. This constant low-level attention to how your body feels is genuinely more powerful than being mostly sedentary and then doing a few of these dedicated exercises a few times a week. The bottom line about all of this is that your body does not need a complicated plan. It just needs to be paid attention to every day. But for women who have spent years feeling their wedding band get tighter and accepting it as aging, the targeted actions in this video are enormously valuable. The gains for someone going from no attention to consistent attention will compound in a way that is hard to overstate. It is probably more powerful than half the things any doctor could prescribe you. So practically then, what I want you to do is start with one thing today: the evening leg drain. 15 minutes, 90 minutes before bed. That is the right starting point for most people. For some of you, that will feel too simple, but just start where you are. Once that becomes routine, add a second thing. Morning calf raises beside your bed. Do as many reps as you can. Try to do them every day. Then once that feels easy, add the hand sequence during the day, 2 or 3 times, 60 seconds each. And then every couple of weeks, push something a little further. More reps, a longer evening walk, better label reading at the grocery store. Once you have all of those nailed down, you can add regular daily walking to the routine. Walking does something really powerful that targeted exercises do not quite manage. It trains all of your fluid management systems together in a really functional way. It keeps the brain-to-body connection sharp. And the research on what it does for your overall health is remarkable. There was this really, really big meta-analysis in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, pulling data from over 400,000 people, and they found walking was associated with a significant reduction in cardiovascular death. Around 7,500 steps a day is all you need, really. You don't need 20,000 steps. You just need to be consistent. And if you can do at least some of your walking after a meal, that is even better. The science tells us that 3 short walks after meals reduce your 24-hour blood glucose levels more effectively than a single longer walk at another time of day. Alongside all of that, it is really important to remember to feed your body with enough protein. Adults later in life need more protein than most people assume, roughly 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day, spread across meals, not all at once. Now, the framework for all of this is simple, even though it won't be easy for everybody. It comes down to a few core principles. Pay attention to fluid balance through what your ring is telling you. Move more in your daily life. Add targeted exercises consistently. Lower the heaviest sodium loads. Walk regularly. Eat enough protein. If you do that, you are not just protecting your fingers. You are protecting your independence, your sleep, your heart, your kidneys, and your brain. Because all of these systems run on the same underlying physiology. And the research is crystal clear about what happens to women who pay attention versus those who let everything quietly decline over years. A serious problem in your 60s does not start in your 60s. It starts decades earlier with signals nobody noticed and nobody investigated. The ring on your finger has been one of those signals for years. Now you know how to read it. Take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if someone you care about has been struggling with their wedding band fitting differently, share this with them. These are the conversations that matter. I will see you in the next one.